Alright, so bitch. Let's just get to it. Okay, you didn't show me champion select, but we're playing Jhin. He's strong this patch. Good enough. They have a Rek'Sai mid. The enemy comp is so bad. I don't know why you sent me this, but we'll figure it out, I guess, as we go. You have a normal composition. Playing front to back's good. You have Jinx, Sona. You can just run over this lane. They cannot interact with you. There's an invade. Great. Walk out of bush. Nocturne's late. Ari is Giga Inting. Urgot doesn't E anyone. There it is. Pixie here. Should heal this side. Yeah, that's good. Nice. It's really good that Nocturne got that good. Because you're not going to be able to really spend the money well. Because you're continuing to run. See if you get the W? No W did it. I know a lot of people who would have flashed some of that Sona. I think it's fine you didn't. Okay, laning phases, we're coming off late, so we lose the level 2. Good W on the melees. I mean, your job here is just to develop into the late game, and punish Sona when it's applicable. You don't really have to do anything else as Jhin in this game. Should be thinking about, like, where the enemy jungler is, what you want to do with your waves with the enemy jungler or your jungler. It's a Kayn, so they can't really, like, CC you well. To get through. If a minion's gonna die like that, and you know it's gonna die like that, you shouldn't even be bothering to auto-attack it. You should be auto-attacking the minion that you can take when you need to, like, auto-attack it that way. It's a very weird W to go for on a Jinx. But I guess if you knew Jinx didn't have flash, I didn't see it in the thingy majiggy, so it's fine. Yeah, I mean, I don't have any real qualms about anything like that yet, but yeah. You should be telling your support that we have to shove this wave as fast as humanly possible. There's a fucking shove ping. You should be using it. Yeah, worst case scenario, Kane's here, and he catches the wave. But if your support was hitting this wave, you would have just autoed a minion and backed. And you would have had 1,300 gold to spend, which is absurd. And they would have had to hold this wave, and Kayn would have got it instead of Jinx, which is, like, way superior to your laning. And now, like, what are you doing? You're just fucking... Okay, now we're backing? Okay, we're backing 30 seconds later than we should have, so now we lose this wave. Because we were indecisive and we weren't thinking about what we were doing with our waves. You should already have your item you're going to build pulled up from leaving Fountain the first time, or just whenever you're not doing anything, you should have your item pulled up so it saves you time on your back. Your wave is pushing into you. Nocturne is top lane, and Senna is recalling, so you can't really hold it, so you just kind of have to accept it. So you shouldn't walk up to this wave. You should not give them any of your HP. It's very pointless for you to give them HP. Wing the minion to get it is totally fine here. You should not give them anything of your HP. You should ward the bush, either in river, because you're going to be playing. So, real quick, how this works is... you never ward the river bush if you're the aggressor. You only ward the river bush. What I mean by river bush is this place right here. You only ward right there if you're the defender. You're, like, behind this line. Maybe this line. And that's because this area actually gives you, like, information. Let's get this on. I like it. But if you're behind this line, then this ward will give you information. If you're in front of this line, this ward gives you literally nothing. You should just put this ward up here. I already told defend back that. You should put your ward in, like, this location. But okay. So you should have warded, and now you're losing HP for completely free. So you're just fucking like begging this enemy lane to just run over you because you're just donating HP. Jinx, yeah. I mean, you just donated 300 HP. How kind of you. You're like, oh, I bought this refillable for a reason, I may as well use it. So we're down an entire XP wave of minions because we didn't have a good back. We're down that subsequent golden XP, and we're down HP, which means we're down the ability to like have an active trading environment here. Like, look at this. Like, oh my god. Okay. So here you're like, okay, I have a pink ward. Sure. Sure. That's a fine place to put your pink ward. If you're gonna put it there, I'd put it a little bit further up into the bush. Because it just, like, this will only see, like, to here and to, like, here, but if you put it here, it sees to, like, here, which could matter, right? And it can see up a little bit more. Like, putting wards into the side of terrain is never good. You should always look to do it. I understand that you're like, I'm just gonna walk over here and put the ward over the wall. You can put the ward in the wall, and it'll drift into the bush, or you can just walk around if you're not comfortable doing that, even though they have the little thing where it shows, like, where the ward's gonna end up. But the wave isn't crashing, so it's like you have the time to walk over and do it, so why wouldn't you? In that position. You're still, like, even though you threw the lane, like, incredibly hard, you're still in a position to, like, be able to do stuff because you're Senegin and you have just more damage than Sona Jinx as long as you're hitting the Sona. Bad W. You should click on the minion to see its HP and then know what your ability does. Like, so it does 96 to casters with this BF sword here. So you can do that just by like hovering over the ability and seeing how much damage it does, and then reducing it by the armor percentage and just getting like a basic number in your head. And being like, okay, my abilities do that. You should always left click on the minion if you're gonna use it at a long period of time and just look at its HP. Figure out when you want to shoot it. Based on that metric, but you have a fucking BF sword. Like, this lane should be completely over, but we're playing like little whiny little bitch boys. Oh my god, the cannon. Anyway, there you should have like just autoed fucking Sona. Like you've missed like 10 or 12 auto attacks on Sona here. Should auto that caster, or that melee, sorry. A little late. That Q is terribly irresponsible. And you're just not enjoying your look at that. Like, you could have been doing this the whole time. There's nothing that says you weren't allowed to do that. I don't know why you wouldn't W Sona there. Now they don't have mana, so the only thing you have to worry about is Jinx auto attacks. And if you weren't queuing your waves irresponsibly, like, you'd have like another 150 mana right now. Like, you're queuing to do nothing. You're gonna auto attack the minion anyway. Every single time I've seen you queue under turret this game. So it's like, why are you queuing? This is great. This is super good. Yeah, I mean, you missed everything, but like, whatever. Like, you and Senna, but it's fine. You got him anyway. It's good of you to move like that. To be aware to move like that. But you're down. You're in a winning lane, and you're down CS when you have a 2-kill lead on the opponent. It's like, hello? You went mana flow ban on Jhin. I would never go mana flow banned on Jhin. That's like so irresponsible. I mean, are you like mana flow gathering storm? Or like celerity? This is the only two I could see, and even still, like, just like look at the numbers here. Nimbus, absolute focus, celerity gathering. Let's see. 52. Keep in mind this champion has a 53.5, so this is lower than his win rate. Your fleet, I'm guessing your fleet this, and then that game you're probably coup de grace. In that game, I would probably, yeah, I think celerity gathering is probably best in that game, but definitely not mana flow band. Mana flow band just gives you 250 mana and restores missing mana, and that sounds nice on paper, but like, it doesn't do anything when you're using your mana responsibly. And I understand why you're doing mana flow band. You feel like you need mana flow band because you keep queuing the wave over and over and over and over and over and over and over. So you're like, wow, where's all my mana? Right? So yeah, this makes sense. Gathering Storm is very good. Celerity makes tons of sense on this champion, and it matches his win rate, which is why it's a good rune. Any rune that has an above win rate is strong, like Taste of Blood. Is performing admirably with Ingenious Hunter. This makes a lot of sense. A lot of times I would recommend this page because it makes your Gale Force and your trinkets on lower cooldown. So it makes tons of sense to me. But yeah, we are losing this lane because of our decision making, not because of our mechanics. Like, autoing Sona aside, like when you could have autoed Sona, like even with that included, like it's not a big deal if you don't auto the enemy champion when you're supposed to like perfectly auto the enemy champion. That's not something you're supposed to like hyperventilate about. It's this decision that you've done with your waves, your recall timings, and other associated things that I've talked about that's like really brought it into attention to me, that you're not like participating in your lane. Yeah. Even still, I mean, this is such a wash of a game. Ulting for this wave is really interesting. I kind of like it because it just like stalls with these two enemy champions here, because they're like, oh, he's playing passively, and then you have the sorry flank, so it's cute. I like it. It's fine. I like it when players use their ultimates in interesting ways and in new ways, so I have no problems with that. I definitely think something went very wrong here. So we Ard. Could have held R a little bit longer. Like, see how much time you have left on R here? You don't need to fire off the 4th R here. I know you want the 2 minions, but like, you could just hold the 4th R until like Ari's in a better position. And then it gets closer, because then you have the slow. But here we get up into position. What happens here? So Ari misses Q. Misses Charm. Okay, so Ari missed a bunch of stuff. What did we miss? Missed the W? Did we try a W? Okay, so we missed W. Okay, so we... Wow, and Octor missed Q. Okay, Jesus Christ. I really hope these aren't your friends. Wow, that was impressive. Yeah, so you should have held R a little bit longer, and you, as Jhin, a lot of the time, you can just wait for a slower CC to come through, which I guess is Ari Charm in that context, because your W is easier to dodge than an Ari Charm is. So that's fine. But like here, it's like, why are we shoving? Like, why do we want to shove? Okay, we just chunked them and they don't have flashes, so like, why not make the lane long? Why would we not, why would we intentionally shove this lane here instead of making the lane longer and forcing them? Like, they came up anyway, but like a good human being isn't going to do that. They're going to be like, oh, the wave's shoving into me. Why the fuck am I going to walk to this wave? But this is just a reality of your elo. Yeah, but even still, it's just like really bad. You're a little late to the map awareness for this, but I don't think it matters. I think you would have died anyway, even with your W, so that's fine. It's a good recall back, or recall stopping. Recall stopping is really impressive, and a very powerful thing to do, because when people are taking recalls on their right times, you're messing up the tempo, and you get to lose your laning phase like you lost your laning phase by not taking the right recall at the right time. That's what people try to do to you when you cancel an opponent's recall. That's what you're trying to do to them. And you did it to yourself. So there's that. Yeah. Like, there's no world where Jinx and Sona should come out of this lane alive. Or, like, even, right? Jinx is even with you right now. She's 3-3, you're 2-0-2. You have essentially the same gold. Which is truly absurd. Especially when they have a Rek'Sai mid. And, like, you don't have to worry about mid pressure because Rek'Sai has to be mid hitting their waves because Ahri shoves faster. It's like... It's so sad that happened like that. But I'm not trying to beat you up on that. I'm just trying to let you know, like, that's just... The context of the situation demands that, like, you should not be in this situation, but you are because of your mistakes. So I want you to think about those, is why I'm saying them. This is a great fight. I have no idea why we're not taking that. You have a fucking Gale Force. You have a Mythic Dun. Worst case scenario is Senna dies and you get a double kill. You also have Gale Force, like, you should just be, like, ready to take a crazy good fight whenever you want. This is a really shitty roam. You're not getting anything from this. You're following bot lane. Like, the macro of this is, like, you're just denying yourself 350 gold of plates. For fun. For, like, absolute fun. Like, so you just lost 2 waves. Or I guess 1 wave, because you're going to share this with Senna and Ari. But you lost 1 wave. I don't care how bad these players are. You should not be doing this. Like, the enemy team is this bad because you're in this elo, and they're making this terrible decision, but, like... Okay, good. You shouldn't W unless it's guaranteed. Like, it doesn't do anything. If you're in auto attack range, you should auto attack. You should not W. You W when you're out of auto attack range, or the W is guaranteed. Anyway, yeah. So you just lost. If the enemy team was competent human beings, you lost like 425 gold, and like a whole minion wave of XP. So now we're down about, throughout the course of this game, like 3 or 4 minion waves of XP, roughly 600 gold. Just because of our decision making, which is absurd. And to be completely honest, you've probably are technically down more gold in XP because you haven't prevented the enemy team getting gold in XP. Which means that, like, preventing gold from the enemy team is not the same, but it's similar to you having a gold advantage and having your own gold anyway, because you're just that much more effective than them. So if they're negative 500 gold and you're plus 500 gold, then it's really like almost like 1,000 gold on you, because your stats are just that much better. But so instead of them being down the gold and everything else happening here, you're like big inting. You're hitting the one guy who can go invulnerable, which I think is funny. Okay, it worked out. You have heal. Okay, we used heal to walk away slowly. We did not stand in front of Ari. Giga Chad. I'm loving this. This is a hilarious fight. Char him. Yep. Should go down. Probably went down and then out. Yeah, just walking up and taking this wave in front of Urgot's fine. Oh my god, sounds like a cat's dying. There we go. Good music. Anyway, sure. I don't have any big nitpicky things. You should have a target analysis, so you should be like, okay, Kayn can go invulnerable. He's not threatening me. Rek'Sai threatens me more than Kayn does in this position. I should be auto-attacking Rek'Sai. Right. So. Collector in this game is interesting. I think it's fine. I do think Stormrazor is better. Reason for that is because, and I'll explain this very, very simply here. Stormrazor is probably better than Collector here, because let's look at them side by side. So a Stormrazor possesses these stats: 55, 15, 20. The 50% becomes more AD, so it's really like 65 AD. Collector says 55 plus 18 lethality, right? So you're at level, you'll have it at level 10 or 11. So this will basically say you're reducing, because it's 0.6 times 0.4 divided by level. Um, that like is more weighted at level 1 and then becomes a 1-to-1 at 18. So your lethality is getting rid of at level 11 like 11 flat armor. Which means if they build any armor item, this is worse than this because you're losing the 1080 and the bonus magic damage, right? But the other thing you need to think about is the movement speed that comes from Stormrazor, right? This allows you to maintain the fight better than a collector does, right? Movement speed is the hidden most important stat of League of Legends. So because movement speed equals damage equals stats equals blah blah blah, right? It's you're hitting them more often, you're being able to reposition in the fights in a better way because you have Stormrazor, right? And if you go Stormrazor, then when you go Rapid Fire Cannon, your energized attack really packs a punch. Whereas if you go Collector, your next item needs to be something like Bloodthirster, right? So you know, playing for this is it's like fine because they're not building a lot of armor, right? I think Rek'Sai and Kayn should be the ones getting armor this game, and those are going to be the two people you're going to be most likely auto-attacking, and so in total, Stormrazor would be doing more damage to the people you're actually auto-attacking, and Collector would be doing more damage to the people you're not auto-attacking, if that makes sense. So, that's like my piece on this, right? But again, you are a product of your region of Elo. So walking this close to Rek'Sai underneath your turret, because we have Flash and Gale Force, is fine. But you have to burn Flash and Gale Force for this, and you have to. I want you to be analyzing that situation to be like, is that correct, right? I think it's fine in this case, good. But in future cases, like, I want to know that you're looking at that objectively and being like, okay, this is great here, this is not great here. So that's what I'm hoping for here. This fight is just fine. It's a fine fight. The enemy team is letting you, with this gold advantage, take fights. I have no idea why we ran out of there like that. What was so fucking scary? This fucking zero whatever auction player? We didn't just, like, go down? Like, you could just... So, here we are, right? We're walking up. We could just auto-attack auction. You could just be hitting auction. And then using Flash after we kill auction. Like, look at his HP. If you autoed him 4 times, he's dead. That's really bad. That's super bad. That's like game-throwing decision stuff there. Alright, what's how strong is Auction here? He has 1 item. He's a Stormrazor. It's 5-5 and 2. Yeah, he is probably the strongest member on the enemy team. Doesn't matter. You are 8-0 and 3, equal level essentially with him. 4 auto attacks from you, and he dies. But instead we flashed away. Like you flashed away. More specifically, let's be like very evident here. You flashed away from nothing. So you flashed away from Akshan, right? But you didn't need to flash away from Akshan yet. There's nothing here that's telling you you have to flash now. You still have 1,000 HP and a refillable that could be ticking. You're not flashing away to reposition for R. You're just flashing. You're scared, right? You could be auto-attacking Akshan and then flashing over this wall later, if you wanted to, and be producing more in the fight. That's literally your only job as an AD carry, is to hit people, right? And to hit people as much as you can while not dying. That's all you have to do. So your interest should always be, can I be hitting this guy? Can I be hitting this guy? You should be maximizing the amount of opportunity you're giving your team by hitting people as much as possible. Ulting that wave's great there after the position because it lets you get the wave. That's fun. It'd be really sad if I'm not recording all this. Okay, I am recording and my audio is coming through, so that's very good. We're going back bot lane. It's the wrong place for you to be. Yep. Herald spawning in 30 seconds, you're the biggest member on the team. You should not be side laning because it's the only area where Akshan gets to 1v1 you. This is terrible decision making. I understand that you're like, I'm an AD carry and I did like get to the waves and stuff. And I think it's really funny that Jinx is here, of all people. But you should be mid. You are the strongest guy. I'm not mad that you've made this decision because your elo enforces it. I'm more mad that you're not getting as punished as you should be getting because of your elo. And so it's not like working, but it's definitely possible that there's other games where you're getting punished for these actions that I've been talking about, like your reset timings and your decision makings in lanes and such, and this post lane decision making, where you're just like 1v2ing bot lane for fun, but like should have been taking a Herald here, we should have had Ahri down here, and then we should have been using the pressure of our 8-0 and 3 Jhin 2 items like a way better, but now you're taking adverse fights that aren't just guaranteed wins because you're not there, right? Not that you being there matters, because apparently you don't auto attack people when you can. So I guess that's actually the right call. If I'm being hard on you and you're feeling upset about that, that's good. That means you're realizing the mistakes and where you need to improve. It's a very good R angle. Should have done it a bit earlier, in my opinion. Wondering where Kane went. It's so funny that we have this fight happen. Nothing's happening. There's nothing on the map to fight over. I mean, technically there's Drake in 40 seconds, and this is sort of how I want you guys to fight in our team, where you're like setting up Drake, and then you take the fight before Drake even happens, before it even spawns, because they're trying to get into the area and you're boxing them out, but that's not what was happening there. It's just kind of almost adjacent to that. Very unnecessary Geralt Flush there, but it's fine. It's just you don't have that for 90 seconds, and you don't have Flash, so it's like, now you can't make like a play for a hot second here. You need to be pinging more and like controlling more of your games, of like what you want the games to be doing. Like you're just kind of like a backseat DPS here, where you're just like sitting back and watching things happen. And it's like, I'm almost mad at you. Like, you made mistakes in this game that are coachable, and I can like show you them, but like you're not being punished for any of them because of the elo, which is, it makes me mad that you're not getting punished for any of them. But I mean, it's good that we can find these mistakes, because if they're happening in this game and you're still winning, then you're not getting the negative reinforcement you need in order to understand where the mistake is, which probably makes you really confused at what you're supposed to be doing next, if that clicks in your head. Because you have like games like this, and then your next game you play the game probably very similar to that. Shift third is so bad on this champion. It's so bad. You do not need the wave clear. Rapid fire cannon is better every single time. Static Shiv is a baited item. Does not do anything for you. Like, I'm sure the stats are going to say it's a fine item. But, yeah, 56. Oh, sorry. Come on, let me find it. 60, 62. Oh, boy. 45, 25. Does 170 at 18 plus 50%. This does 140. And then the bonus attack range. 30, 80 versus 45. 15%. 25%. Okay, so this does like 60-ish. 80. And then obviously you get the energized attack bonus. But if you had Storm Razor, then it's obviously way better. But this is also energized, so there's an argument there. But I think 3-item Jhin is just so strong it doesn't matter. But I would always be getting Rapid Fire Cannon. Also, you have to consider the game size. This is 8.5k games. This is 430,000 games. So, but again, I mean, like static shift, it's like, oh wow, we do 110 extra damage to this guy sometimes. It's not like not doing anything. That being said, I love static shift, like historically, and I'm mad they changed the icon actually, but like your build is just egregious, in my opinion. Like it's a conflict of identity. You're buying an energized item when you aren't building the other energized items, and you're buying the worst of the 3 energized items. So it's like, what's going on here? I just want to see you auto attack somebody so I can see the static shift. I just want to see if there's a reason that I'm not aware of. I don't think there's a reason I'm not aware of, though. I think it's just bad. I mean, the stat line does give you more AD than rapid fire cannon, but rapid fire cannon gives you more damage because you're hitting people more often. So, like, that's the concept that I think you really need to understand as an AD carry when you're itemizing, is that, like, you should be trying to hit the enemy more often. And, like, the first thing you need to make sure is that your character's doing damage. The second thing you need to make sure is that you're actually hitting the opponent. Which is like when, like, a Jinx gets, like, upset with themselves because they second item, like, a rapid fire cannon, and then they're not doing damage. It's like, yeah, because you're forgetting the first part. And that makes sense. But, like, for Jhin, especially 3 items, you should just be trying to hit people as much as you can, and rapid fire cannon affords that. And the fact that you can go rapid fire into W is just so powerful. So it's kind of fucking hilarious that we have a static shift here. Even if it has a 62% win rate, I legitimately think that's just Jins who are so far ahead they're just building it. Also, I will admit, out of the attack speed based items, it does have the highest AD, which is interesting. But you're Jhin, you don't need help clearing waves. So we'll keep it going. I don't think there's really anything else to talk about in this game other than your build paths. It looks like Kayn and Rek'Sai both didn't buy armor, but, like, I don't like you building a collector because the ELO says you can. And even if it says you can, I don't think you're doing much more damage than the ELO represents anyway, right? Like, you'd probably be doing just as much damage in any other way. See, this is like, you'd Gale Force there. I don't know why we flash. I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter because the game's ending, but, like, maybe that's where your head is at. But, like, this part of the fight, you're playing very well. So you W this guy, you hit this guy. This should be a Gale Force down or a walk away if you're confident. You did a walk away because apparently you're confident. You know, auto him, right? And then you flash here for nothing. Imagine you Gale Force down, you kill the Sona, your big chilling, and then you Gale Force it back up anyway. It's like, that's just like a byproduct of you being a little pussy ass bitch. Oh boy, though, our static shiv killed 1 caster minion. Very cool. Rapid fire cannon would have killed her. That's all I'm saying. Got her anyway. She's bad, but yeah. Alright, TLDR, your wave management needs to be more, like, thought-provoked. You need to be like, what am I doing with this wave? Your recalls need to be way more organized. You burned way too much resources for that. You need to look at a wave, and if it's shoving to you, you need to let it shove to you, unless you're baiting the enemy for a fight, in which case you take the fight, because that's what you're doing. But you walked up and traded all your HP for fun, which is very bad, and it cost you a way better laning phase than required, and better players would have punished you. That being said, I am kind of mad that you chose this game out of any game to send to me. It might just be the first game you recorded and sent to me, but I thought that you would choose something that you thought you actively needed worked on instead of just sending me like a 15-0 and 9 Jin game. But I'm glad there were still mistakes that we could have done here, but in a more competitive game into an actual enemy team composition, I could have taught you so much more. And this feels like a disrespect to the resources I'm providing you. So, I want another game where you're presenting me an actual League of Legends game and not whatever the fuck is on the enemy side.